when we actually handle errors, we don't really just want to kind of, handle it and go on with the next action. We usually also want to get the details of the error to figure out what caused the error, maybe log it somehow or notify someone. We can use a couple of expressions to actually do that, depending on what we handle. So if for whatever reason we went with the action level error handling approach, we could use the actions expression, which will just return the actual outputs of the action that we're handling. Or if we take the recommended approach and use scopes, we can use the result that will return the outputs of the entire container scope. Both of these will actually result in a JSON object similar to the one shown in here, but the schemas will vary depending on what actions and containers we're actually handling. The reason I mentioned the word containers is because result actually works on other containers, such as conditions and loops. So a container is actually an action that can contain actions inside of it. So conditions, loops, and scopes are the containers in Power Automate Cloud Flows. However, there are at least 4 different schemas for the output that we can get. This applies to both of the expressions because the outputs of the result expression will still depend on the action that actually failed within the container we handled. So it will return the same thing, but just within an array. It will also return the same kind of an object as the actions expression, but within a list of objects for each of the actions inside the container. So what this means is that regardless of the approach we take, it will still be quite tricky to handle all exceptions properly. A big shout out here goes to David Wyatt for actually finding 3 of these, the first 3. However, it actually seems like these can in fact change because I actually found a 4th type myself, but could not reproduce type 3 as the create item action under the SharePoint connector would actually result in type 4 for me when I forced it to fail. So this was what David actually suggested should be returned on create item, but I actually got the type 4. So it might actually change. It might have changed since he published this article on his blog, or it might not really be static.